The Arizona Cardinals coaching search has been one that has been incredibly frustrating to watch as a fan on the outside looking in, and it has really highlighted just how undesirable this Arizona Cardinals franchise is to coach right now. So I feel like today we need to talk about some of the big reasons why we don't have a head coach just yet, even though the potential of having one either today or tomorrow is very high, and we also need to talk about why no one wants to coach here, with the number one biggest reason being that the NFC West is probably the toughest division in all of football. Now, it's no secret that the San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks, and Los Angeles Rams are all three of the best teams in the NFC. Any one of them could have won the NFC Championship this year. It just so happened to end up being the Seahawks though, but two of those NFC West teams were in the NFC Championship game. The Arizona Cardinals went 3-14 this season. The rest of the NFC West went 38-13 combined. Nobody's gonna want to come coach a team just to get beat down for 3 years and then get fired. Even if you end up being a good head coach, the odds of you making it into the playoffs when you have to play those teams 6 times a year are very slim with the current team you have right now. Yeah, you got studs like Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, and on the defensive side of the ball you have Josh Sweat, Walter Nolan, Buda Baker. But without a clear quarterback one on this team, and without a good offensive line to protect that quarterback one, no matter who the coach is, you're not going to be able to win anything. And we all know how the Kyler Murray debacle's been playing out all season. Will the Cardinals end up keeping him? Will they trade him? Does he even want to play, or will he do a holdout or something crazy like that? Because I could see him doing a holdout. He's one of those players, and I could totally see it happening, especially with how the Arizona Cardinals treated him last season. He very clearly wanted to play after his injury, and the Cardinals wouldn't allow him to get back in the game whatsoever because they liked how Jacoby Brissett looked better at quarterback. How will that factor into the 2026-2027 football season? We've seen big names like Robert Saleh go to the Titans, John Harbaugh go to the Giants, Mike McCarthy go to the Steelers. Wait a minute, never mind, that one's not a big deal. This is the year for big coaching names. Coaches that have had success in the NFL in the past. This was the Cardinals' chance to go get a guy like a McDermott or a Stefanski or a Harbaugh or a Tomlin. Guys who have already been there before and could potentially take a team like yours to do it again. There was also this one guy, I don't know his name very well. I think his name's Vrabel. He was available recently, but no, he's probably not doing that well in whatever job he's at right now. But one of the reasons why the Cardinals aren't even entertaining a phone call to McDermott, who I think got wrongfully fired as the scapegoat of the Buffalo Bills, and why they didn't go for some of these other big names, is because the owner is really cheap. Sure, we can't open up our wallets to get a really good head coach to turn the franchise around, but we sure as hell can put some new casitas in the stadium, because you need to live in comfort while you watch the Cardinals lose. The Arizona Cardinals are the oldest NFL franchise, and they are also one of the very few family-owned franchises left in the NFL. They don't have a group of collective people owning them like, let's say, the Broncos, with the literal people who own Walmart. You know in that situation that they're going to be able to open up their pockets easily to spend as much money as they need to make their team good, and you can see it already paying off. The Cardinals are incredibly cheap, and their owner continually seems to make mistakes when it comes to hiring GMs, when it comes to hiring head coaches, because he doesn't want to hire a head coach with experience who costs more money. He'd much rather hire a guy who's never had coaching experience at the NFL level so that he can either succeed or he can crash and burn and get fired after 3 seasons. He also doesn't have enough money to upgrade the training facilities, and apparently he was too cheap to treat his families well, because in the NFLPA grades for the Arizona Cardinals, they did terrible. They would have been taking summer school classes all summer long because their grades were so bad they would have had to drop out if they didn't do so. The Arizona Cardinals got a D+ for treatment of families, a D- for food and dining area. They did get a B for the nutritionist/dietitian, so good on whoever the hell that is. They got an F- for their locker room. What NFL team doesn't have enough money to at least upgrade their locker room? Look at all these colleges upgrading their locker rooms into these elaborate, illustrious places where you can go get comfort. Imagine going from the LSU locker rooms and then getting drafted to the Cardinals and you end up in like the crappiest locker room you've ever seen. Their training room also got a D-. The training staff got a C. Their weight room got an F. The strength coaches got a C+. Team travel got a B because there is the Cardinals jet that they use that is actually one of the only really nice things they have. And Jonathan Gannon, the head coach, got an A rating, which was the only A you had on your entire list of grades, and you fired him. And I don't disagree with the firing, but it's hilarious that you fired your only good grade on the NFLPA report. And as far as ownership goes, the NFL Players Association grades were a D-, and I don't blame them. There are some teams in certain sports, like let's say the Colorado Rockies for example, where the owner doesn't give a damn if the team wins. They just rack in the ticket sales regardless of if it's the home team fans or the away team's fans. They laugh all the way to the bank and they continue to lose for all of eternity. That's where the Arizona Cardinals are right now. They have 6 winning seasons since 1987 when they moved to Arizona. All 3 of these factors, the toughness of the NFC West, the cheapness of the owner, and the NFLPA grades, roll into a nice little bundle, a nice little ball of why no one wants to coach for the Cardinals this year, which is why we haven't been able to secure a big name. There were rumors that there had been a phone call to John Harbaugh, then all of a sudden that same day, he signed with the Giants. The team that Robert Saleh was about to interview after the Titans interview was going to be the Arizona Cardinals, but the Tennessee Titans didn't let him leave the building, so the Cardinals missed out on that guy. They didn't even put in calls to Kevin Stefanski, Mike Tomlin, or now McDermott, who I think may be the best candidate available at this exact moment. Instead, the Cardinals have kind of been doing the thing that they always do, looking for a coordinator who's never been a head coach at the NFL level, who's cheaper to hire, but still has that boom or bust potential to turn the franchise around. The top 2 names after all of this week that had come out as the top 2 head coaching candidates for Arizona were Anthony Campanelli and Mike LaFleur, the defensive coordinator for the Jaguars and offensive coordinator for the Rams, respectively. But it was announced just yesterday that Campanelli will be back to be the defensive coordinator of the Jags next season, and this all coming probably because of the news that the Cardinals are really centering their focus on Mike LaFleur, the brother of Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. They gave him a second interview. Hell, they even took this guy to dinner to try to wine and dine him and convince him to come to this horrible team. And it looked like everything was falling into place for Mike LaFleur to end up being the next head coach, which he still might be, until the news came yesterday that Ron Rivera was getting an interview from the Cardinals. Oh, you mean to tell me the coach in his last coaching experience who went 4-13 with the Commanders? Yeah, sign me up for some more of that kind of football. Do we even want to get better, guys? Mike LaFleur at least has some potential. Campanelli at least had some potential. In fact, as of me making this video, there are only 2 head coaching vacancies left in the entirety of the NFL. Even the Browns found their guy. The Browns hired offensive coordinator Todd Monken from the Baltimore Ravens just a few hours ago, leaving only the Raiders and Cardinals without a head coaching vacancy filled. This new Ron Rivera interview by the Cardinals is just absolutely shocking and confusing to say the least, and it shows that maybe Mike LaFleur doesn't really want to come here. Why not stay with the Rams as OC? And with Sean McVay as head coach, your team has a chance to win the Super Bowl every single year. If you come to Arizona, things may go well, or you may end up being fired in 2 to 3 years and looking for another job once again. Like, this was the year. If you wanted a new head coach or needed a new head coach, this was the time to go get one. If after all of that, the Arizona Cardinals end up with Ron Rivera, it is going to be an absolute disgrace to this franchise, an absolute slap in the face and middle finger to the fan base, who are very disjointed and not happy with the team anymore, and at this point, we may be splintering off to other teams. Luckily, I have my AFC Broncos in the back, because without them, I wouldn't know what winning even is. We're just gonna have to see how this all plays out. If the Cardinals ended up with Ron Rivera, I would be incredibly disappointed. Sure, he had success in the past with the Carolina Panthers, but it makes no sense if Mike LaFleur doesn't want to be here that we haven't at least sent a phone call McDermott's way, because that is the best available coach right now, and with only 2 spots available, maybe he'd want to come try us out. But if the Cardinals hire the wrong guy, they will continue to circle the toilet of irrelevancy, and those are just my thoughts on the whole issue. So we'll have to wait and see who ends up being the new head coach. I'm sure we'll find out within the next 24 hours. Let me know what you think about this whole situation, Cardinals fans, in the comments below. If you're not a Cardinals fan, certainly happy to have you here as well. Please subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends, totally free. We're trying to grow our way up to 2,000 subscribers, so hop on the train. The Askew crew welcomes you. We'll see you very soon in the next video. All I have left to say is stay askew, and bye-bye.